Hey friends, welcome back to Birds of a Feather Talk Together. This week we are talking about a super cool and truly bizarre bird called the calfbird. Found in the forests in northern South America, this bald bird with blue skin has a call that sounds like a chainsaw, and it makes that sound similarly to how a bullfrog makes noise. It's super cool, and you'll have fun learning all about it. As always, it's married ornithologists John Bates and Shannon Hackett, along with myself, RJ, and my wife Amanda, talking birds. We also answer a listener question on snowy owls this week. All right, let's grab our binoculars and let's get into it. Have you guys seen, so we're recording this before the Super Bowl, so we have no idea what the outcome is going to be, but have you seen all the coverage of Sam Darnold using Merlin? It's super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely makes me root for the Seahawks.
I know, same.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're birds.
Makes sense.
Is a Seahawk is that an osprey? Is a Seahawk a type of bird?
I mean, it always bothered me when they picked that name way back. It's like,
yeah, I have never done a search to know what they meant when they picked it. Have you?
No, I think it could be bald eagle. It could be osprey. Those are the two common fish-eating birds up there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I feel like when I've looked up osprey, it says like Seahawk. Yeah, so I think it's an osprey.
Well, there you go, Amanda.
But it's like Seahawk's like seagull, like it doesn't exist, right?
I think we should ask Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He ought to know.
Yeah. It was funny. Some of the early videos of him, it was like he didn't know what the app was called. He was like, I just have this app and I like to sit in my backyard and record all the birds. And then there were later ones where he was like, it's called Merlin. Like someone must have told him like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cornell probably called him up and said,
right.
I know.
We're taking you to
I
court,
think you're
buddy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the ones, I think it was when he finally called it Merlin, he was like, I should get a sponsorship or something, or like an endorsement. I was like, oh, honey, nice try. I don't think that's going to work with Merlin.
An endorsement. Right.
Yeah, he should donate some money to Merlin.
There we
Exactly.
Yeah, no kidding. Because ornithologists are so rich. You can go
Exactly.
give endorsements to multimillionaire football players.
That's what I was thinking too. I know.
This is how it starts. Next year, there'll be 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you mean
I think
players
we should
using
be
Merlin?
using that betting app, whatever it's called, to bet on how many other professional sports athletes use Merlin.
Oh, there we go.
What do you think? Like we can bet on the over or under from 1.
Yeah. By next year, how many major sports leagues will be?
Yeah. Not putting much money on that growing. You never know.
Yeah. Well, so we're talking about the calfbird this week. So I think,
Excellent.
Yeah, John, did you pick this one or?
I picked this bird because, to be honest with you, when I did this 6-month stint banding birds in Manaus, Brazil, way back in the 1980s, I basically didn't know this bird existed, and so it would be on the air out in the study sites where we were out doing this minimum critical size of ecosystems project, where we had mistnet lines set up in patches of forest, and we were monitoring what was happening before and after the various sized patches got isolated, but in good forest in this part of Amazonia, in the northeastern part of Amazonia, this is a bird you'll hear, and it's an absolutely incredible sound.
Yeah, can you describe the sound? I feel like that's one of the. I mean, there's a whole lot about this bird that seems super unique and fun, but the sound is definitely up there, right?
The sound is one of the for sure, and it basically goes like this.
Okay, or something like that.
And you can literally hear it for I think it carries for kilometers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really something.
Wait, can we?
Oh.
RJ, do you have your phone
Yeah,
handy?
play the real one. Let's see
okay.
how I did.
I like John's.
I was to say, I like John's too. It sounded like Star Wars or something to me.
Not if you're trying to identify it in the field.
Oh, this is not. This is something that when you hear it, you'll be going, "Oh my God!"
All right, here we go.
Cool.
Did that come through all right?
Sounded just like
Yeah.
me.
That's what John, I think that was pretty good. Yeah. Shannon, what do you think?
Better than I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm impressed, John. Yeah.
So I was reading about
So-
how it makes the sound. So it's almost like a frog, right? So it like kind of has like in its neck almost like it stretches out. Is that right?
Yeah. So we'll have to. We should. We'll do some more Katingas at some point. But the family Katingidae are this lineage of subausine birds. So they're not songbirds, and their vocal structure is different. And the Katingas are a big, really interesting, really diverse group of frugivores, fruit eaters from the New World. And Calfbird is in its own genus, so it's different enough that it's been considered separate from everything else. They've been around in there for millions of years. It's a very old group, and I guess, yeah, it's just one of those birds that you absolutely will remember when you hear them, and then seeing them is also not easy, but really cool.
And when they're making that noise, are they performing it in Lex, or is it? I read somewhere that they will do that in Lex. Is that?
Yes.
So you'll hear multiple.
One of the things I wanted to point out with that is that the so Lex are something that occur across the Katingits too, and one of the recordings I was listening.
Want to tell people what a lek is, John? That's like a
So a lek is a group of males getting together. And what I was going to, one of the things I think is interesting about the Katingits, this family, is they have all kinds of different leks. So one of the birds that Calfbird often co-occurs with is a bird called screaming piha, which is literally one of the most common sounds across Amazonian forest. And they have what are called exploded leks, where there are multiple males loosely associated with one another in a particular section of forest. With calfbirds, they have apparently one older male and several other males together.
Okay.
And they kind of display together from their designated sites in the forest. But there are
that
others.
alpha male is doing most of the mating. The actual copulations is being done mostly by that primary male.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are other species where, so for instance, the cock on the rocks, which are an incredible group of birds, their leks are actually on the ground, and there are multiple males displaying in the area in a tight little area. So there's a lot of variation in these leks, and calfbirds are doing it up in the trees. I'd say one of the interesting things to me is they're not a particularly common bird in compared to, say, screaming piha, which is, I would say, much, much more common. So, there are all these different aspects of the breeding, of the biology and behavior of these Katingits, which is really fascinating. There's a whole nother group called bellbirds, which have these incredibly loud calls that they give. And again,
and umbrella birds, which have these like incredible top knot, weird punk rock hairstyles.
Cool.
Really interesting. John, I was struck when I looked them up before this. There are 65 species in Katingidae and 24 genera. And so what that meant to me immediately is just how much distinctiveness there is amongst the 65 species, that they, on average would be 2 to 3 species in a genus, which is pretty low especially for a group that's fairly old, the way Katingas are. So if you go look at them in picture books, you're just going to see the wildest array of phenotypes in birds. I mean, maybe more diverse than any other lineage. I don't know, in terms of just the bizarre nature of both behaviors and their morphologies. But anyways, I don't know. It just struck me when I was looking at them.
I had a question about Lex. What's the motivation of the other males that aren't going to get the benefit of mating? Why do they participate?
So first for Calfbird, one of the things I would say is nobody's done. I think there's one person who's actually been able to kind of watch a couple of different leks. So as Shannon was saying earlier, the information is that there are 3 to 4 birds hanging around, one of which is presumably an alpha male. So the idea is again, there's been sexual selection in these birds for females. It's female choice. They're coming in and that's presumably driving the evolution of these behaviors in the males. One thing that's cool about Calfbird, which is weird, is in a lot of these groups, there's sexual dimorphism too, because the females end up doing all the nesting and raising of the chicks. And that's not the case in calfbirds. They're not dimorphic, which is kind of crazy to me too. But
I mean, Amanda, they're almost certainly trying. The non-alpha males are hoping to help attract females to that, in the hope that if they get really good at whatever it is they do, dancing, singing, whatever, that they can be the alpha male. So that alpha male is going to kick off at some point, right? It's going to die. So who's next in line?
Okay.
And so there's going to be some form of competition. And the benefits of being an alpha male are so great because you get so much of the copulations in a population and you're long enough lived that you can wait a couple of years while you're trying to figure out whether or not this alpha male is going to die or whether you can outcompete them. So, it's not the most common behavioral system, mating system, but it is not uncommon either. So whatever makes a lineage able to do that is interesting to me. Yeah. And there are several of the sub-Aucenes do have lineages that actually do that. Mannequins do that, things like that.
Do the ones that are not copulating, does it actually help the one that is are there the bigger your lek, is it, or are they just there kind of learning the ropes?
So
do we know?
I think that's yeah. I was going to say, for a lot of species, we actually don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have. I mean, Cotingas actually across the board are really poorly studied. We did red ruff fruit crow a while ago, and again, there's just not much known about the actual mating and breeding biology and courtship in some of these birds.
In some species that hang out together like that, they're related males. So it's like an extended adolescence. Basically, you're learning how to be an adult male bird from that. And then you hope you can sneak in a copulation maybe here and there. Although I'm not sure how common that is in this book, in this bird.
Yeah, I mean,
that answers.
There just isn't much data on calfbirds per se. So some of the birds that have been studied well are birds like mannequins in the genus Chiroxifia, where in Costa Rica, there's a bird called long-tailed mannequin, which has a blue back, and the males have blue backs. They're black with a blue back and a red cap and this long tail. And they have this really well-studied lekking system where there are the oldest male can be 15 years old, and he's getting 90% of the copulations in a given area. And these other males, like Shannon said, are just hanging around, learning, and they get to dance and things. But
the alpha male wouldn't be successful without them. So I guess it's a sign of stature, how well you dance. Yeah. Maybe how well you control your underlings.
Okay.
I mean, I think go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, sorry, John. I was just going to ask, they're not trying to help each other. It's like they're just trying to get some. That's what I was going to say. In a lek, it's not like the other ones are trying to help the
There's
alpha.
all these things about indirect benefits to yourself. So if you're related to the alpha male and that alpha male is getting, you're your genes are doing better by him having more copulation. So it's worth helping. So, because nobody wants to think there could be altruism, right? Whatever. But I actually think altruism is understudied and underappreciated. And I don't think humans just have altruism. I don't, or lack it these days. But so there are all these potential indirect genomic evolutionary benefits from you by helping.
Okay.
So it could be if you're associated with a really good male, that's a signal to other females that you're of higher quality too. We don't know very much about this bird or any of these birds doing this at some level. And almost everything we know is fairly old. From a couple, Barbara and David Snow are the ones who, pioneered the research in these birds and in a bunch of other birds too. So that's where a lot of it stems from, work that was done in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Not nearly as much since then, which I find interesting too.
Yeah, I'm realizing that we haven't actually talked about what this bird looks like. So it's crow-sized with a big bill, and it's kind of a bright rufous brown, and the feathers stop at the neck, and the head and face are actually bluish in life. But it's bare skin, and so it's a incredibly wild-looking bird.
Yes. It looks like someone shrunk the head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their heads look smaller for their body size. Their heads look really small.
But I think it's because the neck feathers, which they actually use in some of their displays, are kind of, once they terminate, I would be interesting to know whether they elongate it or not. But they kind of, it's almost like a ruff around the neck, which I think makes the head look smaller. But anyway, they're bizarre.
Amanda, do you remember what you said it reminded you of?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was just going to say this. It looks like the Igor character in Young Frankenstein, right?
Yeah.
That's the movie, right? Yes. Yeah, like it looks, because the feathers are kind of on the back of the head, right, John?
Back of the base of the head, yeah.
Back of the base of the head.
Yeah. I guess they come up a ways, yeah.
It looks like, the picture I'm looking at, it looks like it almost has like a hunchback, right, RJ?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And, that gets to the name, which I find really interesting. So we only have 10 of these too, so they're not common in collections either. So Parasocephalus tricolor, and Perisosis means strange, odd, or extraordinary. And Cephale means head. So, you got a strange head. And the tricolor means 3 colors. So its name is pretty interesting. And it's often called capuchin. Capuchin bird is the other name for it, which gets to friars and monks who have a hood that they wear. So if you look at pictures of these Assisi friars, for example, this capuchin part of the Assisi friars, they have this hood over, and that's where the monkeys that are called capuchin monkeys, their name is referred to as from that. So they're bizarre looking things that look like they're hunched and have a hood.
Yes.
Obviously before Young Frankenstein or whatever movie you thought they came from. So
it totally looks like a friar. Like I see that. Yeah. Like,
it does.
Is it Friar Tuck, or what's the Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Right. Right. We thought this bird was named after the monkey, possibly. So now that's really interesting that
Capuchin.
Monkey's named after after the monk. Yeah, that's so interesting.
And you can't, I forgot to look and see if there are any videos of this, but when they display, the males display, the females I think don't have this. They have red undercover or orangish reddish undertail coat feathers that kind of bulbously weirdly out when they're displaying, like they tip their butt in the air, and it's almost like I don't know, runway lights or a stop sign or tail lights, or I don't know, but it's like
awesome.
A flashing light
whatever
system
works.
based on these weird tail feathers that they can use in their displays.
How cool.
Does it?
RJ, you had a good question about their the lack of the feathers on their head.
Oh, well, I was just wondering if they're, I mean, a lot of times we've talked about birds that don't have feathers or, eating carrion or, putting their head into something where there's blood on it and everything, but these aren't doing that. Is there like a reason or, that it's bald, or is there any benefit to it being bald?
It's a really interesting question. I mean, it's possible that there's some type of fruit that they can get access to that gets a lot of, that they can get into, and their heads it affects the feathers on the head enough that they've evolved to lose them. That's a story that I can't defend evolutionarily necessarily, but that's a possibility.
It's not uncommon in Katingas to have bare patches of skin, though.
Oh, okay.
No, for sure.
It's just an extension of something that many of the species are already doing, like a extreme extension, maybe, to knock off all the feathers in your head. But there are bald patches and colorful bald patches on other, parts of the subossine tree of life. These, the first branches off of the passerine or the songbird tree of life. They were first described in Corvus. Did you know that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
I mean,
so that's
crows.
the genus that crows are in.
Okay.
And subsequently it was obvious they weren't crows, but they were first described in crows. And for those who remember our episodes on the feather thief, red ruffed fruit crow belongs in the same family and has these bizarre feathers that for some reason are so valuable to fly tying fishermen that it was worth Edwin Rist breaking into the British Museum and stealing a whole bunch of them.
He didn't take any calfbirds.
No.
So is that one, because I remember talking a lot about Katingas. Is that the other Katinga that we've done? The red.
Yeah, that's the other one we've done.
Okay.
But again, as Shannon was saying, there's a book called The Katingas, which has some of the most beautiful plates in the bird world, in my opinion, by David Snow. And God, there's just so many cool looking Katingas. So there's these things, and they have great names. So there's Pompadour Katinga and red ruffed fruit crow. We've already talked about. There's this genus called Pipriola, which are fruit eaters, and they're green with yellows and reds. And then there's things like bare-necked fruit crow, which has a lack of feathers, like Shannon was talking about. But again, so they're within the genus. There's purple-throated fruit crow, which has feathers. It has no indication of having lost any feathers. It would really looks like a crow when you see it, kind of flying around. And it's just a wild group. I mean, there's just all kinds of interesting experimentation. There's birds in the Atlantic forest that it's called swallow-tailed Katinga, which are kind of narrow, which have these long tail feathers. And then there are groups up in the Andes that are living basically above tree line and eating fruit in polylepis forests and things. So that it's a really old group, but just with lots of different variation.
I mean, its closest living relatives are umbrella birds whose feathers look like they have an umbrella stuck on the top of their head. You have to look them up. They are so bizarre. And this red ruffed fruit crow. So those are the closest living relatives of this bird.
And they're umbrella birds in Costa Rica.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
We got to get our Costa Rica trip booked.
I know, right? Yes. Seriously.
So I had one more thing. Go ahead, Shannon.
No, I think it's interesting that they are frugivorous, and it was the identification of stomach contents that taught us that there could be like 37 different kinds of fruits that are in their diet.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
So they're not specialized like, say, an acorn woodpecker is on one particular kind of plant. But
I mean,
and they obviously eat insects too. But
they probably actually these guys probably eat some lizards and things like that they can find in the canopy too. I was going to say one of the things that's interesting about the tropics is that the few species that have been studied of frugivores are often eating different types of fruits at different times of year, because the fruits have competition for the things that are dispersing their seeds too. And so they've evolved to actually produce fruits year round in a lot of situations and in places like Amazonia.
I was reading about, I was trying to find a video and like couldn't really find one. So I'm curious if you guys have seen this, but like going back to when it does its call and how it kind of is almost like a frog, it said that it's like the skin almost stretches out so much that it's like translucent, almost like you can see through it. Have you seen pictures or video of that or any?
No, but frigate birds are like that too.
Yeah.
That's when they puff, when their throat goes out, that it looks like it's so thin at that point it could explode,
like a balloon or something.
I was gonna say that with screaming piha, this other bird, I've caught one in a mist net and held it in my hand when it started to kind of do part of its call, and you could just feel the whole bird expand.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
So it really is an incredible system.
Wow.
All that these birds have for putting out that much sound.
Good bird, John. This was fun.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So we should talk about Barbara and David Snow a little bit, the people who were so instrumental in studying this bird. They're kind of probably the most famous ornithologists from Great Britain in the 1900s. Barbara was born in 1921. David was in 1924. So she was older than him, which I find interesting. She went into the women's army, and her husband was a bird watcher from, being a little kid. He was really interested in birds, and he had teachers in his family, so he did that. And then they got married, and they were actually the founding. David was the founding head of the Darwin Center in the Galapagos. Oh. So he worked for the New York Zoological Society, and then he worked in the Galapagos before he went back to England. They had two sons, where he was the curator of birds at the Natural History Museum. It was a long career. He was there from 1964 to 1984, so he spent 20 years in that role as the curator.
I'll just point out that he was editor of this long-standing journal called the Bulletin of the British Bird Club, BBOC. Yeah, I think that's right. And I submitted one of my first manuscripts based on the field work I had done in northeastern Santa Cruz, Bolivia, for my first year of my dissertation field work. And I submitted this manuscript, and he was the editor of the BBOC at the time, and he wrote back, and he had all these comments, and every single one of them was just absolutely spot on improving the manuscript. And I always really appreciated the fact that he took that much time on a little manuscript about distributions of a bunch of birds in Bolivia. But it was amazing.
That's awesome.
It sounds, I read a bunch of obituaries for them, and it sounds like that's exactly what he was very, very, very good at observing, very detail-oriented, very responsible in that sense. So he got prizes from the Bird Society. He got a Brewster Medal from the Bird Society, and he got a Goldman Salvin Medal for outstanding contributions to ornithology from Great Britain. Wow. So they were extremely well thought of ornithologists. And just think about that. She was 40 years old in the field in Trinidad and other places working with him, but still, that was not the most common thing for women to be doing in the 60s. So awesome. I never met them, and I don't think I ever heard them speak. Did you, John? Did you ever meet him?
Not that I can remember for sure. I might have seen him at a meeting really early on at some point.
Wow, that's so cool. I'm glad we could highlight their work. That's really, really cool.
I couldn't find what their sons were doing, because I'm always curious to know what their kids are doing. I know they had 2 sons, and they had 5 grandchildren when they died. I mean, he died in 2009. She died in 2007.
Their kids aren't hockey players?
That's what I was going to say.
Not that I can find.
I mean, their last name is Snow.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Well, is there anything else on the Calfbird we want to touch on before we get into? We do have a mailbag question this week.
Excellent. Let's see what the mailbag's got.
All right. So this is from Erica from Dunlap, Illinois. And Erica she runs that Winking Titmouse farm in Illinois, which she's written to us before. But she said, just curious if you've heard any more on the snowy owls on the lake. I was so bummed the weekend we were up that way. It was snowing hard and we didn't get a chance to try and see them. So
Yeah. Crappy winter has made it hard for people who really wanted to experience those birds. It's been a terrible winter here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what it really highlights is how much those birds move around. So they were here for a while early on. I meant to go check eBird and see what's gone on with snowy owls this year. But sometimes what happens is those northern birds that are coming south, like snowy owls or tree sparrows, I think their populations move around. And so those birds left pretty early, and I don't think there have been very many sightings along the lakefront of snowy owls this year. And it's interesting. I mean, maybe they weren't finding enough to eat and they started looking for other places. The other place around Chicago that I always bring up is they're often out at O'Hare.
Oh, right.
And so I need to check on eBird and see what people have seen this winter.
Is this
Why do they go to O'Hare?
go ahead.
Sorry, RJ.
What's that?
I was going to say, why do they go to
It's an open place where there are places for them to kind of perch and look for things.
Okay.
And even though there are planes, there are not that many people. So
Okay.
it's a little bit private.
And my guess is there are lots of rodents.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
I think that's the single biggest thing. With the interesting caveat that along the lakefront, snowy owls are often catching ducks along the lake.
Okay.
Well, that's a dramatic sight.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So, RJ, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to ask, is this pretty much as far south as they'll come down? Or is there a chance that they would keep going?
I mean, there are records for Bermuda.
What?
There are records.
Oh,
Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a record for Hawaii.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
And so
so
depending on the year and what happens is they could be pushed farther south.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, I had no idea.
not commonly. I mean, we're
Right.
definitely at the southern edge of the normal distribution.
That's
And-
crazy.
Yeah.
And I'd be interesting to know how many years we go without them. I would say there's a sighting almost every single year,
Mm,
and just
Wow.
more some years than others.
okay.
With the Hawaii and the Bermuda, is it likely they got on a boat, or do you think they just went on their own?
No, I think owls can stay aloft really well. It's crazy to think about this.
Oh.
I, the snowy owl that showed up in Bermuda was problematic because it started hanging around the Bermuda petrel colony, which is an extremely endangered bird.
Oh,
And
no.
so that was because it needed to kind of find something to eat. And
Oh gosh.
That's too
Yeah.
bad.
Well, hopefully that's not where
But,
these
I
ones
think-
went.
well, and one thing that's critical, I think, is in those situations, the likelihood of a bird like that getting back to its breeding grounds is pretty much zero at that point once they get that far out of the normal range of things.
Bad. That's too bad.
So did you guys ever watch Bridgerton? Now I'm going to talk about something completely random.
No.
No.
I have never watched it, but in the mail, I got a sample of tea from the Republic of Tea, believe it or not. And
I
it's
believe it.
called-
I believe it too.
How did they find me? It's called Sophie and Benedict, and it's a what did they say? Love in Blossom Green or something like that. Tea is what the label says, and I drink. That's what I'm drinking now. It's actually super good. I was surprised. The tea is really delicious.
Wait, is that a
There you go.
Bridgerton? That's a
There's
Bridgerton themed thing, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I haven't looked it up to know if they have a whole line of them, there's a little QR code.
Oh.
RJ, you can.
All right.
I'm just going to point out to you, all of that is grown in the tropics and has nothing to do with England.
Okay. I doubt your beer is native to here, and your coffee certainly is not.
Hops are definitely grown up in areas where. Just saying.
Do you like hoppy beer, though? I didn't think you liked hoppy beer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You still need hops.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else?
And you know what?
Go ahead,
I
Shannon.
heard, one more thing. You know what I heard today? For the first time in 3 years, I heard my water boiler in my right ear.
Oh, exciting.
So this
That's
thing is really starting
exciting.
to integrate as if I don't need to use only my good ear all the time.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And it's been, the last week has been super startling in that way that all of a sudden I can hear things on this side that I never would have heard before, which is why I had an
That's
appointment and made them turn it up. So
Wow.
awesome.
That is so awesome,
Wow,
Shannon.
that's wonderful. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
yeah, I can stream my TV to it and hear everything. Stream podcasts to it. I understand everything. People's voices are still a little weird, kind of cartoony or robotic and a little bit higher pitched than they are in real life. But John's voice doesn't sound like that. Neither does my mom's. They sound normal, but a little bit on the podcast people or TV people. But I can understand everything they're saying with things only going into my bad ear. So this thing is a roaring success.
Amazing.
That's amazing, Shannon.
Good.
That is so exciting.
Except it's been too
great.
freaking cold to go outside to see if it helps me actually find sounds. This I don't know yet.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
But I figure it might. If I could tell that sound of the water boiler, the song that the water boiler sings when it's boiling, was coming in this year, that means I could figure out where the sound was coming from. Like
Yes.
I could recognize that it was coming into this year. So maybe there's a chance if the weather ever gets nice, like in June for me. I'm usually safe to go outdoors in June.
Well, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's great. That is great.
All right. Well, should we wrap it up on this one? Is there anything?
Yep.
Anybody want to close it out on
Yeah.
the Calfbird?
It's just one more reason to go to a country like Brazil and get up into the Amazonian forests and see something or hear something that's just absolutely unworldly.
Awesome.
So cool.
Thank you to everyone for listening. We continue to get great feedback from you all, so thank you for being a part of this with us. You all are the reason why we do this, so thank you for listening and following along. See you all next week. We love you all. Thanks.